And welcome back to another episode of Bones and Tubs.
Running against the batteries.
Yeah, running against time and batteries. We hope you all are going to have a good show today. We're going to talk about a few things. The big topic of the day, though, is the Prussian education system.
Ooh, Mother Prussia.
You might think that sounds, a little dull or anything, but let me tell you this right now. This Prussian education system thing, well, it affects all of us. And apparently, last minute, we had one of our venerated guests decide that she wanted to put her 2 cents in on all this. And we might have toe beans on here in a few minutes.
Oh, well.
Just to give her...
Wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah, so... Welcome back to another episode of Bones and Tubs. It's been an interesting week. You've had a few things going on. You got, Comic-Con was last week. Which we didn't talk about it because it was like starting right around when our last show aired.
Do normies talk about Comic-Con?
I don't know. Are we allowed to?
I don't know.
See, apparently, according to...
I like it when people that wear fur put me in a box.
Yeah, according to some furries on Instagram, me and my dude Bones are normies.
Yeah, well, I don't shit in a cat box.
Yeah.
So I don't really give a fuck what they had to say. I left them an appropriate meme, too, of a person, it was on our Instagram, of a person with a flamethrower giving out death to someone, and it said, kill it with fire.
Do you think we should just tell them the whole, that whole saga, whole epic that started the furry and Bones and Tubs War of 2017?
Yeah, go ahead.
So, okay. So last week, we put up a advertisement for our newest episode. Anybody that's listening, you might have listened to our last episode and know what it was about. We put up a meme of, it was a collage, and one of the memes was a Keanu meme, where it said, it had to do with Trump building the wall to keep us in, not keep people out.
Yeah. So
we advertised it, and then it's, okay, here's the thing, the first day, I noticed a comment by somebody that called us. Did it just start with them? Because I deleted all of it. Did it start with just somebody calling us normies?
Yeah, some sort of a normie 2008 meme quote.
Yeah, they're like, nice meme, normie.
Yeah.
And I was like, and then I think I put something like, the problem was I
took the troll bait.
I took the troll bait. I got a little triggered by being called a normie.
Yeah.
Well, to an extent, because I was like, coming from you, I take that as a compliment.
For wearing faggot.
Yeah, pretty much. Because I was like, you've diminished any ability for you to have any reasonable debate at this point.
It's funny to me that one of the top furry tags on Instagram and on Google is fur fag.
Yeah. So and then I put KYS at the end.
Yeah.
And then they're like,
literally kill yourself.
And they're like, ooh, telling me to kill myself on the internet. And I'm like,
no, seriously, think about it.
Yeah.
I'm just planting seeds. We're like Johnny Appleseed. We're planting seeds all over the world.
So then it got to the point where I was like, you know what? Because this was supposed to be an advertisement. I was like, I don't want all this negative shit on this advertisement. I don't want to make us look like assholes telling people to kill themselves. So I just deleted my comment. I deleted their comment, and I blocked them because I know, when somebody gets a comment deleted, they're going to come back on that.
It doesn't stop there, though.
Well,
because he had that, probably some sort of a furry forum.
So this is how I imagine the story went after that.
Yeah, he chewed on some catnip.
Imagine some dramatic theme music, ba 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 ba, and he gets on furry fan page, right?
Yeah.
And the music's still going da 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 da.
I need all furries to report to check their Bones and Tubs on Instagram.
Comment on this and call them normies.
Yeah, I don't like normie words. Fuck.
Then it just kind of got out of control, and they kept saying the same things over and over again. That's how I knew that they were all in cahoots with each other.
Yeah.
And this happened like the entirety of our advertisement cycle, where they just kept commenting on it, like, and making fun of every aspect of it. And it's like dumb. Like,
even making shit up.
Yeah.
That's
yeah,
fine.
yeah. Well, then there was one, I don't think he was part of the rest of the herd, where he, like, equated drugs with murder and shit.
Yeah, he was like, I guess we should just make murder and rape legal, too.
I think that dude was just, like, an idiot.
Yeah. Somebody that would benefit from ego death.
Which, they're all idiots.
Right.
But no, so then the advertisement's over. Everything's cool now. And, in fact, we've kind of found, you know, a pretty good niche of people.
Yeah. Not only that, but we also, on our presidential post, where we posed together in suits at a wedding, and made it a presidential banner for our 2020 run for presidents.
Yeah.
We are apparently pretty solid in the homosexual community. We have a large base of LGBTQ plus minus.
Hey, and you know what? If you listen to our show, you know for a fact, you know, we've talked about the LGBTQ plus community for a while.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I would never call it completely negative.
No. This guy said, you guys are cute. Which one of you is single butch?
Yeah.
I had to inform him that neither of us are single.
Yeah.
But we do appreciate
the follow.
You can't have this, but I want to know.
Yeah.
Do you want it?
So, yeah, I mean, it's been an interesting week for Bones and Tubs. We've garnered a lot of new followers.
Legit followers, too.
Yeah, like people who are actually going to be listening to the show and stuff. Yeah. That doesn't diminish all of you who have been loyals from the beginning.
Some people just like the memes, but that's fine.
Trust me, in the beginning, you know, you were there first.
You were the foundation.
And and I've started to equate this to like Dune. So like we're like the collective Paul Muad'Dib of the situation. And the other night I saw a vision in the dreams.
Yeah.
Where I saw a Bones and Tub jihad sweep across the world. Yeah. Let me tell you something. The loyal ones, the ones from the beginning, oh, you're my captains.
I feel like I've always spent my life in a cave staring at a naked woman, you know?
Yeah.
Plato's cave, Dune cave, whatever.
Yeah. You're just
I'm ready to emerge the mujahideen of that world.
We are the seekers. The sleepers have awoken. I awoken from a deep sleep the other night.
Yeah.
And now I'm back on course.
That's good. Both of our third eyes are wide the fuck open.
Yeah. It took a little bit of I don't know what. Some stuff.
Trouncing.
Some trouncing.
Yeah.
Some deep searching.
Right.
But I had that vision of a Bones and Tubs jihad sweeping across the world, and I was like, yes.
It is good.
But yeah, so it's been an interesting week for us, I think. I think this is like, if you want to talk about like, we've had our Genesis already. I think this is the beginning of Exodus.
Right. Leading our people, gaining followers on the way.
Exactly. And we found our niche.
Yeah. It's good.
So I'm good for that.
It is good.
It is a good time to be part of the Bones and Tubs.
I still hope everybody goes out and downloads the Accountable app, hits up HR 1227.
Yeah, for real, folks.
Votes yay.
Yeah,
yay.
votes yay.
Yay!
Let your representatives know how you feel about that.
Call them up on the phone.
Yeah.
Show up in their office.
Let them know, hey, you know, we should end the prohibition of a plant that grows naturally, that actually helps people.
And cures cancer.
Cures cancer.
Yeah. I mean, we have a cancer epidemic. We have an opiate epidemic. I mean, can we at least start chopping away at the actual problems in society and let go of the brainwashing?
Yeah. And can we all be adults about this?
Yeah.
Like, seriously, can we all just collectively step back and, you know, put on our big boy pants?
Just a quick comment about drugs.
Okay.
Real quick.
Yeah.
I feel like, you know, it's no secret that I am all about the full decriminalization because I don't know if you saw this on Facebook the other day, but Middletown just recently got tagged with 8 different gangster disciple tags from Hamilton, which I think is ridiculous.
Nice.
However, it does show that the criminal underbelly is making money off that fentanyl and heroin and whatever other drugs are illegal because the government wants it that way. So we're going to continue this increase in crime and increase in illegal profit shares with drug dealers when we could just end it all. End the fucking prohibition. Every drug has its time, you know?
Yeah.
Even heroin. I feel like I would do heroin on my deathbed.
I don't know if on my deathbed. I'd probably pull in a Aldous Huxley, and have a heavy stream of LSD flowing through my system when I pass.
Why not
when
both?
I shed the mortal coil.
What would both do? It would open the third eye fully and then
you would open the third eye
relax
fully,
the fuck out of you.
and you'd have to fight a fucking dragon.
Yeah, that's fine.
But
what better way to enter the next realm?
But yeah, and another thing I wanted to talk about was before we got started on the big topic was another thing in the news cycle last week was the new Doctor Who. Now I don't know if my partner. I used to watch Doctor Who, but I mean it's an alright show. But anyways, people, I want to talk about it because people lost their shit because they introduced a new Doctor. Because anybody listening who doesn't watch Doctor Who knows, every few years they change the actor who plays the Doctor. And for the last 13 cycles, it's always been a man. Well, finally they made it a woman, and everybody lost their shit.
Yeah,
everybody. This is my call. I think I'm gonna have to start doing a call to, I don't want to call it decency, but a call to moderation. Pick your battles, bitches.
Well,
seriously.
I understand that we are in a heavy war for the minds of people. I mean, clearly they have to keep us infighting. I
mean, here's the thing, though. We've always known, and this is the part that kills me about it is the Doctor is an androgynous character, anyways. He's not historically male. He just played by male people,
right?
So to be played by a female doesn't really ring with me. But here's the thing: it was done in this climate, so automatically people are going to assume it has something to do with PC culture.
Well, it probably does on some aspect.
In some aspect,
I mean, it just goes back and forth to the fact that what can they do to distract us?
Yeah.
Who cares really?
From the real shit.
The only thing that's different with a female Doctor Who character, and this is speaking from somebody who's never really watched a whole lot of it, but she just can't drive a car now.
Oh, yeah.
She
can't drive the TARDIS.
Right.
The TARDIS is undrivable.
I just wouldn't ride with her.
Yeah, it's all good.
But other than that, I'm sure she'll do a good job.
Shots fired, ladies. There's some women in my life that scare the shit out of me when they're driving.
Yeah.
Some of them listen to the show, actually.
She's not an Asian woman, is she?
No.
Oh, well, she might be okay.
But,
Shots fired.
Shots fired.
It's just jokes.
We're joking.
It's just jokes.
Come on.
If we're gonna talk about one group being triggered, we have to automatically trigger the rest.
We actually brought on, to talk about this issue, to see the other side, brought on a guy, he's sitting with us right now. His name is, Toby McIntosh. Toby, what do you think about this new Doctor Who?
Well, I tell you guys, I think this is a travesty of justice. The Doctors have always been historically male, and I think it's a problem that, they make it a female now. I mean, it's just gonna ruin the show, honestly.
Yeah.
Do you really think it's gonna ruin the show, Toby? I mean, it's not that big of a deal.
Well, actually, I think it is gonna ruin the show, if you ask me personally. I've been a dedicated fan for years, go out to the, Comic-Con shows dressed as the, 10th Doctor. He's my favorite. And, I just think it's gonna be a problem.
I think maybe you need to get your life together.
Yeah, Toby, dude, like I said before...
You smell like cats.
Yeah. Dude, this room isn't that big, and I'm having trouble over here.
Right.
So I think I'm going to have to ask you to leave, and just pick your battles, dude.
I thought for a second the cat piss smell was the meth lab that we have cooking, but I mean...
No.
Clearly it's him.
It's not cooking today, so it's him.
Okay.
But thanks for coming on, Toby, and I hope we never have to talk to you again.
Yeah, you're disgusting.
Well, it's nice to meet you gentlemen too, and I'll see you on the forums.
Yeah.
All right, Toby. All right, see you later, Toby. But anyways, back to what we were talking about before. I'm glad Toby's gone now. Bye, Toby. Fuck yourself.
Yeah, go kill yourself. KYS.
Yeah, but anyways, so we were talking about Comic-Con, and I just put one note about it. I said it's the time for furries to be normies and normies to be furries.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
Got him.
Got him. I wanted to put that in there. But other than that, I mean, Sean Spicer quit this week.
Yeah.
Which...
I also heard that Jeff Sessions might be getting replaced with Rudy Giuliani.
Really?
That's what Red, White, and Justin, our senior correspondent in political affairs, aircraft carriers, and naval equipment, told me.
So, but how's Rudy Giuliani on that weed shit?
I don't know, man, but fuck Jeff Sessions. Fuck Jeff
Sessions. He's a fucking tool anyways.
Yeah.
But
fuck you, Jeff Sessions.
I mean, old Rudy, I'm not a big fan of him, I don't think, either.
Oh, we know he's an insider because he kept his fucking mouth shut about 9/11. So that's
true.
I mean,
yeah.
Whatever.
They know he plays ball,
yeah.
So I guess that's good, right?
Play with both balls.
Both balls over here.
But, So I think the only thing I want to touch on before we got in the big thing was I noticed on an article last week. I just wrote down weird kid things to help me remember. But I saw an article where someone talked about how they remember finding pornography in the woods when they were kids.
Yeah.
And found out that, like, kids, that was a good place to hide your pornos.
Mm.
And I laughed, and I had a really deep chuckle about it, because I could recount to my childhood in hiding pornography in the woods.
Yeah. We used to, I had like 2 porn stashes. One was directly south of my house. So I would walk across a cornfield into the forest line, and there, we created like this little fucking shanty lean-to / log cabin. And in it was a Ziploc bag filled with, like, Penthouse magazine. So I remember my parents, when they were divorced, I went to stay with my dad one time, and the dude that he was living with was like the real-life Leisure Suit Larry. He had stacks on stacks on stacks of porno mags, and I would just go in there and gank like 5 of them a time.
Yeah.
And they made it to the woods.
Nice.
And then the other one, we would go to the Cooper Ranch.
Oh, okay.
And we would throw porn into a well.
Oh.
And we would sacrifice it to the gods of candy, what we called it, you know, and in the hopes that we would get a more bountiful porn
harvest.
I was a late jerker too, so it was weird because I would just go out in the woods and stare at it and like angst, just like I don't know what to do with this. It makes me feel funny.
Yeah. But you knew it was important then.
Yeah,
you knew, just you didn't quite know why. But then there was another thing I saw about weird kid things where they were talking about when they were kids and they were driving the car at night and they would imagine that there were monsters who would jump from light post to light post.
Oh, yeah.
And chase the car.
Totally.
And I was like, I saw that and I almost like went into a full flashback seizure. I was like, I did that when I was a kid.
Right.
And it's like, you think about all these weird, then you start to wonder, like, what if there's other things, weird kid things that you did that you never told anybody about? Because I think that's the whole premise of this part was, these are things we all did, but we never told anybody. Because we thought they were too weird and people would think we were weirdos for saying it.
Right.
Like, and we are all having this collective vision of monsters chasing the car. What if monsters really are chasing the
They
cars?
clearly are.
Yeah. What if we're really living in some sort of H.P. Lovecraft nightmare and we've all just suppressed it through years of the Prussian education system?
Ooh,
boom!
I like that transition.
Nice transition there.
I titled our collective rant, From Prussia with Love, the Trivium, Compulsory Education, and Weapons of Mass Instruction.
I'm going to let you handle the facts on this one, and I think I'm just going to do the commentary. I did some research on it, but I think you might have a little bit more of a strong headwind in this one. Hopefully Tobeans comes in here in a minute. She is our resident expert on the education system.
I was going to start with the history of public education in the United States, but I found it to be too dry. Mm-hmm. Ooh, it's Tobeans.
Tobeans has arrived.
What an appropriate time.
What?
Come on in.
Okay, welcome to the show, Tobeans. We're going to pause to allow her to get in on this. Give us just a second, folks. All right, here's what...
And we're back.
And we're back. And we have Tobeans with us because we're going to be talking about the Prussian education model. And she is our resident... education expert over here.
Actually, there is a such thing called as a resident educator. Did you know that?
Oh, you're a resident educator?
I actually am a resident educator.
Oh, okay. Well, it's our resident educator is with us today while we talk about the Prussian education system. And I feel like this validates everything we're about to say.
It could.
It could.
I was going to start with the history and all that, but I didn't want to sound too dry and fucking...
Well, we could
college professor.
We could sauce it up.
I pretty much X'd all through that, and I just went with. I'm going to start with Horace Mann.
Okay, you do it.
That's a textbook company.
Ooh, but of course.
Yeah. Are we surprised?
We always get stuff from Horace Mann.
Well, let me tell you about Horace Mann.
Well, maybe it's not textbook, but I know some. I remember Horace Mann.
Okay.
It's definitely prevalent in the education system.
Well, it should be. Because he's the fucking father of this entire system. Let me shut this. I hear cicadas.
Yeah, I was hearing it on the feed too. That's fucking crazy.
Just a little cicada.
Welcome to our new guest, the cicadas.
Yeah.
Hey.
Horace Mann was a U.S. congressman, and he became the key reformer of what we call the American education system. And let's see, 1837, he became the head of a newly created Board of Education in Massachusetts, where he began work that would eventually give him the title of American Father of Public Education. He studied all the educational systems of the world, the, Western world.
Yeah.
I should just say the civilized world. Mm-hmm. And he chose the Prussian model.
The Prussian model. For those of you who don't know out there, Prussia no longer exists.
No, it's Germany, modern-day Germany. The Prussian system had been shown to be such a success for governmental purposes that, along with a group of educators, Mr. Mann took an 1837-style trip to Mother Prussia. Upon their return, they lobbied heavily to have the Prussian system adopted. During the next 3 decades, a whole swath of American dignitaries go to Prussia to earn degrees. What do you think happened once they got those degrees?
They came back and taught more. They indoctrinated us more with the Prussian system.
They became the leads of all major U.S. colleges.
Got him.
By 1900, all of the PhDs held in the United States were Prussian PhDs.
Nice.
As the first secretary of the Board of Education, Horace Mann promoted the concept that the state is the father of children. He stressed that it was the responsibility of the state to ensure the education of our children. I don't know what that means to everybody out there, but to me, education is the collective history of society, of all men. Mm-hmm. It also, if you look at people like Benjamin Franklin, his quote-unquote education lasted 2 years in school. Most of his education was, well, let's see here. Benjamin Franklin was an accomplished inventor, scientist, writer, philosopher, and statesman, diplomat, and abolitionist.
And a gigantic fuckboy.
Yeah, he also loved wind baths.
He loved that part so much. He was getting it all over the place. He went to France. They sent him to France to get support to fight the Revolutionary War. And when John Adams went over there, because no money was showing up, he gets over there and finds out Ben Franklin has just had onto that water.
Right. He was getting the French behind his freedom rod.
And apparently, and that's the thing though, he was so good at it because they said there were that women wore brooches of him. Around their necks, because he fucked that good. That was his fuck token.
He kept making them squirt out candles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that why he's on our money?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, that is why he's the preferred cocaine snorter of choice.
Yeah.
He's still, in women's panties.
Oh, most
of years later.
Most deaf.
No. Only for the best kind of women,
His only formal education, though, was from the age of 8 to 10. And
so
the rest of it he gained from all of his he worked 60 hours plus in his family business, which was a candle factory.
Yeah.
And after the 60-hour-a-week work, his study went everywhere. Mm-hmm. Like I said, he was a scientist. He was like Sean Doherty.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Dr. Doug Hurdy.
Dr. Doug Hurdy. Whoa.
He was just constantly working some menial job, to do what he had to do. But then in his meantime, he was making inventions in the backyard, powering LED lights with radiant energy.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Yeah. Doing that crazy shit.
We can't have critical thinking or creative minds. Mr. Mann, in his 10th year annual report in 1846, led to the first compulsory schooling laws to be enacted. He lobbied the congressman at the time of the state of Massachusetts to make it a statewide venture. And from there, out of Massachusetts, the compulsory laws and the Prussian model was adopted in New York. And then his sister,
C-Star,
Elizabeth Peabody, head of the Peabody Foundation.
Oh, I know that foundation too.
Yes. She saw that after the Civil War, the Prussian model was adopted in all conquered southern states. By 1900, the compulsory education laws in the country had been passed, and every child that grew up past 1900 was indoctrinated in the Prussian system.
Nice.
Now we move on to what I think made the Prussian model very exciting for the government to make mandatory.
Oh, yeah. And I know about this part.
Are you ready?
Let's do it.
The first country to offer free and compulsory education was Prussia. And it all came about after the Prussians were defeated by Napoleon in 1806. It was decided the reason why they lost was because the Prussian soldiers were able to think for themselves on the battlefield and not simply follow orders. To make sure that couldn't happen again, a new system of mandatory 8-year schooling was implemented. The newly adopted system would not only ensure that children would learn all the required skills of industrial age, reading, writing, and arithmetic, but a system that required duty, discipline, respect for authority, and the ability to follow orders.
So basically, like, education was more or less turned into a byproduct. Like, actual learning was turned into a byproduct.
Right. Well, they took that creative flame out of them, basically. They molded them into people that respected authority, people that only, let's see.
Yeah, so the main goal, like the main product at the school that they developed to turn out the schools wasn't to illuminate people.
No.
And to make them like creative and curious. It was simply a system to make them structured and slaves.
Right.
More or less. Better servants.
Well, they've been saying for years, it's like the same cycle over and over and over. Like, people now, like in 2017, were like, 20 years ago, there was so much creativity in school. And now they're like, kids don't have creativity anymore. They've been saying that forever.
Well, it's been going on
cycle.
Forever.
Yeah, it's
right.
the same. I don't know if there's ever been true creativity in school.
No.
When you have a structured curriculum.
Not at least in our, structured curriculum, mandatory state testing.
And I was actually talking to someone about the testing the other day, and I said, and Toby, correct me if I'm wrong, but I said basically, I lay the blame of testing and all that shit at the feet of, unfortunately, my kind of folk. Basically, this is the way I look at it. What happened is, you have right-leaning folk who believe in smaller government who said, well, if my tax money is going to this, we need some sort of way, some sort of means to measure if it's actually effective.
Right.
So they started the testing as a means to affect it.
But then schooling only became test prep.
But
and that's the problem is that you, instead of like actually trying to like illuminate and create that spark for knowledge, that knowledge, you just make them memorize facts for testing.
Well, the thing of it is people were like, are our teachers effective too? They're like, is the people that are teaching our children, are they truly doing what they're supposed to be doing?
Yeah.
So they started testing kids. And when I was in school, I remember tests, but it wasn't as prevalent as it is now. They test, like, I would say they test in the fall, in the winter, and the spring. And then they have map testing, and then they have state testing.
That shit's fucking crazy.
Oh, it is.
The thing of it is like it's not a true representation of kids or of teachers, because you could be having a really, really bad day and you don't feel good and you go in and you're like, I don't want to do this test, and you'll bomb it. But then the next day you could be feeling great. You had breakfast that morning and you could get a great score.
Right.
So it's not a great representation of children.
The testing goes straight into the Prussian model though, because it still allows for the authority to basically their job for most of the year becomes to memorize fact because the authority said so.
Well,
I think it binds teachers to, like, here's the thing, like, okay, in a perfect world, whether you have a classroom, I mean, here's the thing, at the end of the day, no matter if this is a fucked up model or not, we still need an education system to educate people, right? We still need those things.
Well, it's
but
if you look at the difference between class, because it definitely makes for a class argument, because the lower classes were the ones pushed through the Prussian model.
Yeah.
Whereas the upper classes, those destined for greatness and above the average class, they weren't instructed in the Prussian model. They were sent off to private schools where they were taught only the Trivium Method.
You see, that's the problem, isn't it?
If you look at all the people that are in the ruling class, they all apply, which the Trivium, for anybody that doesn't know, Google Trivium Education and go to the website, and you've got all these different interviews and learning things like just tools that you can open your mind. Trivium's simple. It's grammar, logic, and rhetoric. Yeah. And that if you're taught those three things, then you're destined, to move past. You see through all the bullshit. Yeah,
the Trivium, and I think I've talked about it on the show before, when you start applying the Trivium model to your own way of thinking, it definitely helps allow you to convey messages easier and to apply logic to the things that you're reading and seeing.
Right, and you can see through the fallacies. If you want to see how important the Trivium is in society, look at all the people, like the upper echelons, right? It's on our fucking dollar bill.
Yeah.
Right? The Trivium is a triangle, a pyramid, right? The three sides, grammar, logic, and rhetoric. Mm-hmm. And you go past that, the quadrivium, what is it? Astronomy, geometry, music.
The liberal arts.
Yeah, the liberal arts.
That's what they are. Well, if you take it down to the base, that's what they are.
I just thought, I was thinking of this thing I saw on the news yesterday of this wrestler.
Oh, yeah.
His slogan is he dresses up in anti-Trump uniform, and then every time he slams somebody, he's like, "You've been hit with the liberal agenda."
Oh, God.
It's funny, but he's like, "I'm just bringing the liberal agenda to people one blow at a time."
Can I ask a question about that? If you know, is he considered in the wrestling world you would call a heel? There's heels and faces. The good guys like John Cena are faces. The heels are like bad guys.
He's supposed to be, he's a heel.
Okay, he's a heel. I figured as much. Because, I mean, you gotta think, you're playing to a certain group of people with wrestling, so...
Right.
Well, the thing is when I was at the nail salon yesterday, and it was on the news, and she's watching the TV as she's doing my nails, and every time she would see a story, I guess, that she likes, she goes, "Oh, that's nice." And she was, like, watching this wrestling story, and she's like, "That's nice." And I'm like... I don't know if she understands what's going on, but I don't know if it's that nice.
Her opinions make me feel gross.
Can you just do my nails and let me leave?
Let me slide back real quick.
Okay.
I'm just going to finish this out.
Oh, yeah, you're good. Sorry, we keep going off on tangents
Oh,
here.
so what we do here.
Yeah.
It's important.
It's like you said, it's this show is supposed to be every shower, driving, and before you go to bed thought.
It's the liberal agenda. Just kidding.
I feel like when I'm talking to this microphone, I rub my nose on and like right on somebody's panties.
Mm-hmm. It feels
Panties of your mind.
you gotta do it. It feels like pantyhose.
Bitch.
Because it basically is.
Right. Well,
Hey, let me do something for you real quick.
talking that truth.
Is that better?
And get real close to it.
Oh, is that better?
Oh, yeah, that sounds really good.
I found this great little sexy tangent here of the Prussian model was, let's see, basically some of the most important things that they pushed was that the king was just, that all of his laws pushed were just, and that every single child would be indoctrinated with love of the state. And it goes straight into like military service and all that. They basically combined John Locke's view that children are a blank slate and Jean-Jacques Rousseau's idea that there are ways to write on that slate. The Prussians had formed the best pro-government, industry, and anti-individualist system to date. An important part of the Prussian system was defined what the children would learn, what they thought about, and how long they would think about it. And that goes straight into fucking Pavlov.
Yeah.
The comparison between today's children and Pavlov's dog. You know?
Well, think about it. You know, you go to class, you sit in there, you sit there and listen, and then the bell rings, and then you go somewhere else to go listen to somebody else
shut
talk.
the fuck up about what you're learning there. Completely draw it out of your mind. You've got 10 minutes or so of chaos, and then you go straight into the next thing.
It's not even 10 minutes anymore.
No.
Like, when we were in school, I remember 5 minutes between the bells. It's like 3. You gotta get to class in 3 minutes.
So you have to you can't talk to anybody else but the authority figure. You only have to think about what they're teaching you. Bell, and then chaos for fucking 3 minutes. Quick chaos.
You gotta get a book signed to go take a shit.
Yeah, you can't have
Or a
individuality to the point of even fulfilling a bodily function.
Maybe that's why, like, I don't know, I don't like to think that I broke away from the Prussian system or even before I knew what it was, broke away from it. But I used to just love going to my teacher and getting my agenda signed to go to the bathroom and then just wandering the hallways for about 45 minutes.
Right. You danced on the area that I danced on that I'll get into in a minute, and it plays into the eugenics of it all.
Yeah, Dr. Doug did it too.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
I remember seeing him, and he was like,
yeah.
"What are you doing?" "Oh, I'll just walk around."
Yeah. I feel like that's what sometimes when we're at the Factory of Sadness, that's what some people are doing.
That's all you can do.
And I almost want to let them do it because I was doing that shit when I was younger too.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Johann Fitch basically schooled in the entire ideology in this statement. He said, "The schools must fashion the person, and fashion him in such a way that he cannot will otherwise than you would have him will."
Okay, devil's advocate, I guess.
Okay.
So, yeah, I agree there are some messed up things about the school system. But do you think it's also like a societal thing now, too? Because we, as a society, I feel like there's more pressure on teachers to teach children everything. Like, I know kids that don't know how to count money and how to do this and do that, and then their moms and dads don't teach them that stuff.
How to balance a checkbook.
Yeah, they don't know how to do taxes, and it's our job to teach, But how am I supposed to teach how to do taxes but also stick with the curriculum?
Right. Well, you don't have time. That's the idea. They don't want, because basically you're trying to teach them things that would empower them, or you want to. You're like, why don't we teach them that? But the government doesn't want you to teach them things that will make them stronger.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of it too is the parents, because some of them don't have manners.
Right.
Like straight up manners. Like when you walk through a door, you might want to open it for somebody else. I've had kids slam doors in my face.
Right.
And I'm like, didn't anybody teach you how to open a door for someone else?
They don't know any better.
They don't know.
It's drones teaching drones at this point. After so many generations of Prussian model schooling, we're all basically just fucking idiots.
Yeah.
And selfish drones. You know, it's crazy. Try talking to somebody when you're in public. And like, hey, how you doing? And they look at you like, that might be the goddamn ISIS.
Yeah.
I already know. They talk to you and shit.
Yeah. And try to test somebody's political mettle. And just try to bend it a little bit and see what happens.
Well, you do that all the time.
I love doing it, though. That's my job.
Well, it's one of the things, too, when you get the trivium and you learn it and you start to apply it in your life, you're seeing through fallacies and you start talking to people about real things or like different ways. You're actually able to hold two ideas in your head at the same time without getting upset.
Yeah.
You know? And that fucks up everybody.
Or being able to discern that things aren't black and white.
Right.
And being able, I think what helped me with the trivium the most is being able to see the grayscale as it truly is.
Nobody sees the grayscale anymore. It's like, everyone's like, it has to be black or white. Like, I'm either for or against it.
Right.
There's no middle ground.
Well, it's like the identity politics show, too. It bleeds into everything. It starts in the Prussian model and it moves into adulthood. You've got, like, anybody typically that is pro-abortion, right?
Yeah.
Is also going to be anti-gun.
That's true.
Pro-societal.
There's no ability
welfare.
There's no ability to discern from one topic to another and decide for yourself. You simply just pull yourself in. Now that's not to say there aren't people who can discern from one thing to another.
Right. Well, I think a lot of people are waking up to the fact in one way or another that like I don't have to have all these similar ideas if I have one idea.
Well, and it kind of moves into the idea that I think we're moving into a new age of American politics, and I think that in the next 20 years we're going to see the total dissolving of the two big parties. I think we're going to move into a system more akin to the UK where you have about 4 or 5 working parties who vie for control, but also if they want to get anything done, they have to band together with other things on certain topics. You know, like when they had the Women's March, you had these groups of pro-life Democrats trying to be in the Women's March, and they refused them to be in because they
didn't fit the mold.
They didn't fit the mold. But I think that's the problem, though, is everybody's going to be breaking the mold here soon because they don't want to be put in one category or another. Right. You can be pro-Second Amendment, but also pro-choice. And, you get what I'm saying? Like, yeah. And I think that's what it's moving. I think hopefully that's what it's moving towards is like, here's the thing. Like, we've both been being sold the same 2 flavors forever, chocolate and vanilla.
Well, you look at like Tommy Lauren. She was on the right side, and she got rejected out of the conservative mold. They
tried to tear the mouth out of her because she just came out as pro-choice.
Right.
And that's the thing, though. She applied logic to it.
Yeah.
She said, "I'm a libertarian, therefore I am pro-choice."
I hope everybody checks out the Trivium Education page because you can go through their audio and just listen to their podcast, and that literally, I think, was one of my more woke moments. Mm-hmm. It puts you through the entire thing. It's so simple, and yet we've gone through all this Prussian model nonsense to where I went through, 12 years?
Yeah.
12 years of schooling?
12 years.
And I didn't learn it.
No.
I didn't learn logic, grammar, or rhetoric.
Because you don't want to be there.
Right.
Because it's...
They say that it extinguishes the creative flame, too, so kids that have this creativity and boredom are able to branch off. Naturally, they branch off into, like, areas of passion.
Yeah.
But by the time you get home from that fucking Pavlov Prussian bullshit, you're like, I just want to stare at a TV screen.
Yeah.
I just eat snacks, drink my Mountain Dews.
Yeah.
And then you gotta
get... did Toby show back up again?
Oh, God.
I can smell cat piss.
Hashtag cat piss Chris over there.
Yeah. Oh, Tobeans, we had another guest on a little while ago named Toby McIntosh to talking to us about Doctor Who.
Oh, yeah, I remember you telling me.
I think he walked through the house. He smelled like fucking cat piss and Code Red.
I didn't see him.
Yeah. No, probably be like, why does it smell like cat piss?
And he probably sneaked around the house.
There might be some Funyun crumbs on the floor. I
hope he's not.
He was digging into a bag.
He strikes me as a child molester.
I'm sure he's dabbled.
You think your boy's safe?
I think he's all right. I've been starting to teach my boy wrestling, so
And knife skills.
yeah. So I think he's all right.
He's in the tub.
Uh-oh.
I added this last part for toe beans and anybody else that's pro-education. Like, I mean, we all should be pro-education. Don't get me wrong.
Okay, this is my view on it. I love being in school. I love school supplies. I love everything. I love the kids.
Of school
I
supplies.
like the smell. School
Okay, have
supply.
you ever seen a new pack of crayons? It's amazing.
Right.
And then you use them and it's just terrible.
Right.
But there are flaws that need to be fixed, but I don't know how to fix them right now.
Well, check out John Taylor Gatto. Have you heard of him?
No, I have not.
This guy was, I forget what he did. People that are like John Taylor Gatto files are probably going to be gnashing their teeth at my paraphrasing of his life, but he lived with a roommate who was a teacher. And at the time, the teaching like license was just a piece of plastic. It didn't have a photo ID or anything. So he came home one day and he was like, I don't know how anybody can do this job and use it to make their money, and like went about other work. So John Taylor Gatto decided I could teach part-time.
With this
so
license that's not mine.
as a sub.
Yeah.
Right. So he started showing up at these schools to substitute teach. And I think the first lesson he taught kids, like he went into an English class or something. And he was like, looked at these kids and he was like, what can I do for 42 minutes to keep these kids and keep this whole shebang going? Yeah. He's like, how many of you know how to tell time? And no one knew how to tell time. So he was like, well, I'll teach you how to tell time. He breached it out for 15 minutes. And when the principal found out what he was doing, he was like, June is the month where we teach them how to tell time. And he's like, it takes 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And he's like, she looked like a bulbous erection. Like she turned purple and she was like, you'll never teach here again. So he went on to another school. Somehow he fucking got a job as a full-time teacher, right?
Yeah.
And I want to say it was like 10th or 11th grade.
Yeah.
Like the prime. And he just went into class, and like after the establishment of the school like looked at him and walked away, he was like, so what do you guys want to learn? And they were like, and then each of them would come up and say like a different thing. And he would tell them to like leave the school, go to the library, and learn about such and such.
Yeah.
So they would return, and like basically this model of teaching, he gained so many national awards. Like he had magazines beating his door down trying to interview him.
Basically, he's Robin Williams from Dead Poets Society.
Right.
Like, you give them the tools to understand everything, but you allow them to explore the world themselves.
And that's breaking the Prussian model.
Yeah.
So he wrote, I want to say it was for the Washington Post.
I didn't start doing those kinds of projects till college, though. Like, I had a multimedia presentation in college. Mm-hmm. And it was basically, you had a topic and you had to use 5 different types of media or 5 different types of artifacts, like writing or a PowerPoint or something, to create the full topic. And that was the first time I've ever had something like that in the education system. That was my junior year of college.
Right. And how many people just go out of the 12 years and end up trying to get a factory job or join the military or working?
They're done with school.
Right.
And I get it. I do. Because I get that it's tedious. I get that you go to school and you sit there for 7 hours a day and you sit and you can't do anything that you want to do. I understand why people get burnt out.
Could you imagine if you had been taught outside of the model and you were taught that way, or taught like to chase your passion, learn what you wanted to learn at an early age, what your life would be like? I mean, I have to think it would be different.
You could be
It would probably be different.
You could be very well a captain of industry right now. You could have been Warren Buffett for all you knew.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
and a lot of these people that are the heads of industry or heads of A, B, or C only learned the Trivium Method from private school, and they didn't learn this fucking respect of authority and all that. They became the authority.
Maybe it's because of the education I had, but I'm pretty content with what I got. But I don't know if something was different when growing up. If something was different in education, I could have gone a different path.
Yeah. Well, that's true. I can see where you're coming from. I mean, that's the thing, though. You right now, in the world you're living in what society has told you is something good to be had.
Right.
You have a job. Your spouse has a job. You have a house that you own in quotation marks.
With your death contract, your mortgage.
Your mortgage. Mm-hmm. You have 2 cars. You have everything you need, right?
And you work to sustain that life.
Which that's the thing though, like if you look at it, if you try to apply the trivium to this, okay, yes, there could be more, but are you content?
I have never needed anything right now.
I'm going to speak as the guy who doesn't need anything but still yearns for more.
Okay, you do it.
I mean, yeah, yearn for more.
I mean, just entirely. I hate the factory of sadness.
Yeah, as I say, like, I think maybe our job has tried to beat this. Oh,
what up, dog? What up, dog?
Shit, hyena. Shit, hyena number 2. We better wrap this up because it's about time for you to go.
Hyena Jr.
I want to read the John Taylor Gatto's resignation that he gave to the Washington Post.
Okay.
Deuces.
I've taught public school for 26 years, but I just can't do it anymore. For years, I asked the local school board and superintendent to let me teach a curriculum that doesn't hurt kids, but they had other fish to fry, so I'm going to quit, I think. I've come slowly to understand what it is I really teach, a curriculum of confusion, class position, arbitrary justice, vulgarity, rudeness, disrespect for privacy, indifference to quality, and utter dependency. I teach how to fit into a world that I don't want to live in. I just can't do it anymore. I can't train children to wait to be told what to do. I can't train people to drop what they are doing when a bell sounds. I can't persuade children to feel some justice in their class placement when there isn't any. I can't persuade children to believe teachers have valuable secrets they can acquire by becoming our disciples. That isn't true. Government schooling is the most radical adventure in history. It kills family by monopolizing the best times of childhood and by teaching disrespect for home and parents. An exaggeration? Hardly. Parents aren't meant to participate in our form of schooling. Rhetoric to the contrary. My orders as a school teacher are to make children fit an animal training system, not to help each find his or her personal path. The whole blueprint of school procedure is Egyptian, not Greek or Roman. It grows from a faith that human value is a scarce thing, represented symbolically by the narrow peak of a pyramid. The idea passed into American history through the Puritans. It's found its scientific presentation in the bell curve, along which talent supposedly apportions itself by some iron law of biology. It's a religious idea, and school is a church. New York City hires me to be its priest. I offer rituals to keep heresy at bay. I provide documentation to justify Heavenly Pyramid. Socrates foresaw that if teaching became a formal profession, something like this would happen. Professional interest is best served by making what is easy to do seem hard, by subordinating laity of the priesthood. School has become too vital a jobs project, contract giver and protector of the social order to allow itself to be reformed. It has political allies to guard its marches. That's why reforms come and go without changing much. Even reformers can't imagine school much different. David learns to read at age 4, Rachel at age 9, in normal development. I can't fucking read. Prussian system. If normal development, when both are 13, you can't tell which one learned first. The 5-year spread means nothing at all, but in school I will label Rachel learning disabled and slow David down a bit, too. For a paycheck, I adjusted David to depend on me to tell him when to go and when to stop. He won't outgrow that dependency. I identify Rachel as discount merchandise, special education. After a few months, she'll be locked into her place forever. In 26 years of teaching rich kids and poor, I almost never met a learning disabled child, hardly ever met a gifted or talented one, either. Like all school categories, these are sacred myths, created by human imagination. They derive from questionable values we never examine because they preserve the temple of schooling. That's the secret behind the short answer tests, bells, uniform time blocks, age grading, standardization, and all the rest of school religion punishing our nation. There isn't a right way to become educated. There are as many ways as fingerprints. We don't need state-certified education to make that happen. That probably guarantees it won't. How much more evidence is necessary? Good schools don't need more money or a longer year. They need real free market choices. Blah, 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 blah. That's the end.
All right, then. Boom. Shots
That's more
fired.
like a suicide note.
Well,
that you
what
know
I
what?
was
It sounded like
getting.
a really long fuck you.
yeah.
Okay, I don't agree with that. Some of that. Just saying.
Okay.
Well, give it a look. He's a fucking amazing dude. He got a lot of rewards and what have you.
Well, that's fine. But the thing of it is
He said he got
what
mad.
was it? Was it the part about?
it was
never
the part
meeting-
about special education.
Yeah, never meeting kids that had.
I've met kids that have.
And I'll be a witness to her. The kids that she educates.
Are we talking like mental or physical?
They're both.
Both.
There's kids out there that have disabilities.
Like there are definitively children that I saw that don't think the Trivium would work for them.
Well, it's a different. I think what he was talking about wasn't exactly like.
I get what you're saying. Like,
he's talking about people that just appear slow, and then they're blocked into that.
Yeah, that happens
instead of
too.
allowed to break out.
It's
and
also
grow.
like the eugenics method. We don't have a whole lot of time to get into that, but it's like the people that break the conditioning or people that refuse. Like I was in that category. I failed everything.
Yeah.
And they tried to put you in these disabled classes with these kids that are now in college or dead of heroin overdoses.
Yeah.
When I was in there, but it's like it works the eugenics model because then that separates you from your peers and you know the whole dating structure and everything,
and kind of teaches you class too.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
It's a hard.
And that's not to say like retarded. Like I don't know the right word. You know, I know that word.
Mentally challenged.
Mentally challenged. People that are born with a disability, right? A physical or
mental
disability. But it's like the people that just don't give a shit. They've lumped them into the same.
Yeah, there's a difference because there's no real. I don't want to say there's no real place for them, but what do you do with a kid that like doesn't want to be there, doesn't want to do the work, doesn't care?
Right.
They can't. It's not they're impeding other people's learning, but they're impeding their own by not participating.
But the problem is that it's just the reason they're not wanting to learn
is there's nowhere to go.
They haven't been. There's no means to spark their interest.
Well, those are
because of this model.
Those are the kids he was talking about, and those are the ones that he repeatedly took over and over again out of those classes and made them national stories.
So, like as teachers, we have to figure out like you're given this crappy guide sometimes to follow. You have to figure out how to make it interesting, and if you can do that, then maybe you'll get half of the kids that don't care to care a little bit.
Right.
Because there's teachers that I know of that take material and they make it like everyone loves that teacher. Mm-hmm. The one class they go to during the day is that teacher, and they love that teacher. So it depends. I think it depends on the person too teaching it.
Right.
But again, we've been put in a little box and saying, "Oh, you can't do that. That's not right.
We don't have time. We have to study for this."
Yeah. So it's a balancing act that you can never truly balance. It's always going to be one-sided.
Right.
Well, I think that's about it for the show, isn't it?
It is. Hopefully we lighted some bushfires.
Yeah. Well, hey, Toe Beans, we'd like to thank you for being on the show for this episode.
Sure.
I hope that sitting in the same chair as our former guest doesn't leave you smelling of cat piss the rest of the day.
I didn't even know.
We like to thank you all for listening. Hey, keep an eye on YouTube this week because I'll definitively be putting videos up on YouTube from my trip.
Yes.
Oh, did you plug?
Well, we're going.
Want that?
Me and Toe Beans are going to Washington D.C. see some cool shit. But
also look at the I Don't Want That Facebook page.
Yeah, take a look at I Don't Want That Facebook page.
Fucking hilarious.
Yeah, and participate. It was designed and opened by Toe Beans to specifically allow people to participate in it.
It's like if you ever go to the store and there's like a carton of eggs laying in the open.
Like sitting on top of a t-shirt rack.
Yeah,
next
chicken
to where
breast.
I buy my bras.
Yeah, or chicken breast in the bean aisle.
Yeah.
I don't really need this fidget spinner.
And what we really want to plug into it is when you see these things, take a picture, put it to the Facebook page, and we want you to create a story around it. Create a story as to why this object ended up here. It doesn't have to be factual or real.
Right.
Just as long as like basically build the story around odd object in odd place.
Right.
It's that simple.
I wanted to, like I said, add pictures to it the other day as I waited my hour and 30-minute sentence for a fucking oil change.
Yeah.
And my phone died, so it left me questioning one thing very important. If you look at, like, the Quaker Oats guy.
Yeah.
Right? Or, what's the fucking chick? The jam lady. Or the
Aunt Jemima?
Aunt Jemima.
Yeah.
And Uncle Ben. I have one question for you. What the fuck are they smiling about?
It's kind of menacing, isn't it?
Every single person or thing that adorns a product has some sexy secret that they're not letting you in on.
Buy my shit.
Buy it. Put me in your mouth and find out, motherfucker.
You want my syrup, honey?
I'm going to get mama syrup.
All right, well, I think
God damn, I'm wet.
I think that about does it for the end of the show.
Moist.
Moister than oyster.
We'd like to thank you all for listening again. You can check us out on YouTube, Stitcher,
Instagram,
iTunes, our Instagram, blowing up.
Yeah. Patreon.com/Bones and Tubs. Give us $1.
Give us $1.
Okay.
Come on.
It's 50 cents.
50 cents? Oh, yeah. It's 50 cents. But, Give us $1, whatever you want. Check out our Facebook page.
Be passive aggressive and give them a penny. There you go.
Yeah.
We'd like to thank Ryan Simpson for letting us use his music
Wherever
in our
you are.
show. Once again, we'd like to thank Toe Beans for coming on the show.
I'd like to thank Shit Hyena Jr. for tearing up the carpet this whole podcast.
And
Occasionally
barking.
And barking.
Yeah. Okay.
Shout out cicadas.
But, oh yeah. But, thank you all for listening, and we hope to see you next week.
We love you.
We really do.